I'm Fletcher Kerr and I'm a DJ/producer from Edinburgh in Scotland. I grew up in a little town in the north of Scotland called Elgin, and as far as I'm aware there wasn't an electronic music scene when I was growing up. I left Elgin and moved to Edinburgh to study at college, and once I had moved here my eyes were totally open to the real nightlife that Elgin didn't have. In Edinburgh is where my dream of becoming a DJ and producer really started. I don't think that a lot of new and up and coming artists live in the middle of a huge scene. Like myself, if I hadn't moved to Edinburgh I would never have discovered house music, I don't think, and would never have got into what I'm doing now. So it's difficult when you're living like that because there's a whole world out there that you don't really know. When I DJ I mostly play at commercial clubs in Edinburgh and Glasgow, so this means that I obviously need to play commercial music. So most of the time you'll catch me spinning Taylor Swift and One Direction and other crowd pleasers like that. Although I really enjoy DJing commercial music because the crowd are a challenge and it's a different sort of music to mix than house and techno, it's not what I like listening to at home. When I'm at home I like listening to house and techno. If I had the choice I would DJ house and techno all the time, but the avenues aren't really available for that. So which is why I turned my hand to producing. I started producing my own music around 18 months ago at the start of lockdown. My main musical influences right now are house and techno from the 90s, and I'm really into disco and soul as well. Toolroom massively inspires me as a label. They were the first house music label that I can remember beginning to recognise, because obviously they had the T on the logo. So I started to pick it up and follow those artists, so they were really fundamental in shaping me getting into house music. The reason I decided to study with Toolroom was because most of my favourite artists at the time were on the label and releasing regularly massive hits, so it made total sense to learn from the people that were really inspiring me. The courses I'd done with Toolroom were a vital part of my musical journey. If I hadn't done them, I don't think I'd have music out today, so they were probably the most important part of my musical journey. Toolroom Academy allowed me to learn from massive names in the industry that I really respected, and this can only improve your production skills.
I've not played this one out yet though. I think I could probably play it at my club though and get away with it.
You've not tested it out?
I played the tribal one at Hannah Lang and I went really well. And then this one, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I don't know. It feels almost commercial enough that I could get away with playing it because it's not super underground.
Have you listened and compared your music where you was at before you kind of started studying with the Academy, what you was doing at the beginning?
It's honestly night and day. Like, see, when you start with the Academy, you start doing routines, and the more you do that, the better the music becomes. So when you start, you're maybe not so concentrated and you'll just be throwing ideas. You'll be making like tech house records, maybe techno, you'll be making house records. When you start doing that same thing over and over again, that's when you start improving.
Yeah. It's about structure. Structure and focus, 100%.
The biggest challenge most artists find, I found as well, was finding your own sound, because when you start out, you've obviously got people you want to sound like, and finding your own sound was the toughest part for me because I'd made music for a little while and I just wasn't getting anywhere because it just sounded like everything else. And finding that sound, which I did with Toolroom, is what separates you from being everybody else.
So obviously a big success. You've got your track signed for the Masterclass.
Yes.
Yes. So Don't Need a Man and Last Forever.
An EP. Very exciting. An extended play.
Very, very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm buzzing.
Been track of the week on Toolroom Radio as well. Seeing some great stuff, and you won a remix competition as well.
I did, Run Tidy,
so
yes.
Amazing stuff. You're getting off to a really, really flying start. I'm really excited to see where things are going to go. But how did that feel when the music team here kind of, you finished your tracks, you finished the course, finished your tracks, and the team came back and were like, yeah, we want to take those two. Full EP on Toolroom tracks.
I literally didn't even have words for it. Like, I was just so buzzing. I just had to sit and look at my phone for a minute and be like, oh, this is actually like happening now.
Well, you deserve it, man. You worked really, really hard on the course. Honestly, you've got great talent. We're excited to see where it's going to go for you next.
I had good teachers.
Ah.
Shout out to Ben.
Sign your next track straight away.
Toolroom Academy is different as a production school because I don't think anywhere else I can think of that you're learning directly from one of the industry's leading labels. I can't think of any other labels that you directly learn from people who've released on or work for, and you're learning directly the way that they want to release, and obviously if you like the sound, the way that you want to release as well. My long-term goals are to travel the world and make music across the world, collaborate with other artists, but being totally honest, I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm just living in the moment and taking every day as it comes.